Kasper and Klaus here with 2 new coffees for our subscribers. Today we have Enciso from Colombia and Los Rodriguez from Bolivia.
We have one, again, like last time we had Jaime, so we have another Colombian coffee. This, again, it's a super clean coffee. And then we have the Los Rodriguez, which is a super funky, very fruity coffee. So it's 2 very different coffees.
It's gonna be fun for you to taste at home, especially if you have them side by side, like we do.
Yes.
Let's pour some coffee.
Thanks.
This is the Enciso, and you got the Rodriguez. Enciso is a family of coffee farmers in Colombia, in the Tolima region. And it's Edith and Wilson and their son, who actually each have their own coffee farm. And this lot that you're getting is a mix from all their 3 farms. And Edith actually won Cup of Excellence a couple of years ago with her farm. And the coffee is processed at the mill on the farm, actually on her farm in the bottom of this beautiful valley. I really advise you to go back and see Peter Ebdrup's former videos that we've done together about this farm, because he's the one who's been there to visit quite a few times. So, tasting this coffee, Kasper, you're the expert here.
Oh, thanks.
And it's actually fun because we had that, as you mentioned, a Colombian coffee last time as well.
Yes, last month was Jaime's coffee, and now it's Enciso. So again, we have beautiful, clean cup, just sweet and easy to go to. But this one has way more fruit character to me. Yeah. So it's maybe a bit lighter body, more floral and more fruity notes.
So I actually think it has, for me, a little heavier body. But maybe that's because you have that like slightly more acidity and fruit notes, and like. For me, Jaime's coffee is a little more like clean and balanced and straightforward, where this for me is a little more complex, and maybe that's what's giving that impression of
definitely like
of more mouthfeel,
mouth-watering in a way. Like the acidity really gets it going. And
of course, it's also 2 very different regions in Colombia. So Jaime's coffee was from Huila, and this is from Tolima. It's quite different topography and soil conditions and microclimate and everything there. Yeah. Besides that, they also grow different varieties. Yeah,
beautiful,
really nice, very drinkable, chuggable coffee. And the second coffee to compare with going from Colombia to Bolivia to something completely different.
This is a very exotic cup of coffee, I would say. It's incredibly acidic and just very, very fruity.
Yeah, it's definitely a wild one. It is what is called a Coco Natural process.
So the Coco Natural, what is that? I mean, of course it's a natural, so it's like dried with the whole cherry on, but it's in a very controlled condition. So it makes them really push these boundaries as what can you actually achieve in the natural coffees. Because when you get coffees that are this acidic from other places, it's gonna be so bad. It's gonna be like moldy and bad. Here they control it, so it's like this borderline where it's just insanely developed as a natural, but it's super controlled. They have these big warehouses where they take them in on drying tables. So, and it's like a 2-layer, so they can control the temperature as well in there. And it sorts away the UV light, so it's a very like gentle process, but also just very controlled, the environment there. Then they dry them there, first stage, and then they move them to these heated dryers. So again,
mechanical dryers.
But it's these big beds, so it's almost like a drying table, but it's just with heat underneath. Again, super controlled, so they can set the temperature exactly how they want it. So, and that is how they can push these boundaries in natural coffees.
It's very interesting with the Coco Natural that it's a process that Rodriguez developed together with the leading expert in post-harvest processing, Dr. Flavio Borem from Brazil. And I've seen him speak at the RICO Symposium in the United States, a specialty coffee symposium, where he was giving a presentation about processing. And it's very clear that he knows a lot about what's going on. And he's also been the guy behind the book about post-harvest processing. And the name comes from the fact that once they're dried, the coffee cherries actually look like cocoa beans, and it's remarkable. I've never seen naturals look that way, because usually naturals get very wrinkly on the surface, as they're drying, but because this is more like a dehydration for the first part of the step, they shrink in a different way so they become completely shiny on the surface. And then in the taste, it's, I think, as you said, it's really remarkable. Super juicy acidity, but very wild as well.
It's like
but still
winey.
clean. Yeah, it's winey, yeah. And
So
I think it's
super
like, reminds me so much of like rum raisins.
Another thing, I mean, because I really do get cocoa aroma as well. So it tastes like cocoa nibs, like just crushed cocoa beans.
Yeah.
It really has that, but it's a very like fruity cocoa bean. So.
Yeah, because you have a little bit of like dark cherries going on as well in that acidity. And then a huge mouthfeel, like it's very, very heavy and oily and really sticks for a long time in your tongue as well.
It's a family business run by father and his daughter and his son. They have different areas in Bolivia where they work. This one is from one of their fields called Llama, pure Caturra, and it's just crazy fruity.
Really fruity, yeah. And as always, we have them in both of these coffees, roasted for filter and for espresso. What do you have to tell us about the roast profiles?
I mean, as always, we have quite different approaches to filter compared to espresso. Espresso, we try to balance out some of the acidity. It's gonna be quite hard in the Los Rodriguez because it is so high. But still, we do a more gentle approach to the roast. So we give it a bit more time in the roaster. Not necessarily the end color, but just like the overall roast is prolonged. And that is gonna tone down some of the acidity, but bring out some of the sweetness.
I think this is gonna be a super interesting espresso as well, because it has such an incredible texture and mouthfeel that you're gonna have a lot of fun brewing this in milk as well. It's gonna be wild with the milk because you have that acidity, but it's definitely gonna cut through and give you like a super full-bodied cappuccino or cortado.
In the filter roast of this, I mean, we give it way more heat. We have a way shorter overall roast time, and that really brings out this acidity because it's there from nature. Again, it has a lot of sweetness. We don't necessarily need to bring out a lot more sweetness in the roast. It's really there by nature.
Cool.
Same goes for the Enciso. I mean, it's a way more like gentle, mild coffee, so we really want to highlight that.
We hope that you'll enjoy these two coffees. Please let us know in the comments what you think of them, and if you have a favorite, it would be fun to hear from you. Cheers.
Altså åndssvagt den her, det smager jo simpelthen bare, altså det er jo bare